Hello, everyone. This is Nick Emanuel with the CropX product development team. And I'm here today to give you an overview of the CropX effluent management solution. We have just released this in the United States this year, and we're excited to show you how it works and what it looks like in the CropX platform. So why effluent management? What is the big deal around this? I think any livestock producer and farmer knows how valuable effluent is from a nutrient standpoint. And it really makes all the sense in the world to really capitalize on the effluent as best as we possibly can. Now, having said that, there's often a lot of challenges that go along with effluent and getting it applied at the right time and at the right field when the field is fit and suitable to be applied for. There's no question with current fertilizer prices why we should really be taking every advantage and maximizing our opportunity with effluent today. And so that's what the CropX solution is really here to help you achieve. And same goes with the environmental aspect. This solution was developed in New Zealand by Region, which was another company that CropX acquired a few years ago. And it was the environmental aspect that really drove the solution to fruition, because in New Zealand, they have much stricter regulatory restrictions and reporting requirements that they needed a specific solution to guide their management and to make sure they were following good application and management practices. And so that's where this effluent program was derived. And now, as I said, we're excited to have it brought to you within the CropX platform itself. So how does a farmer get benefits? To start, it's really not going to be anything different than what they're already doing if they are a CropX customer. It's going to start with a CropX soil moisture sensor. But then from there, we have added other sensors that are optional, but can provide additional benefits to that livestock producer. And one is going to be an effluent storage pond sensor, or a pond level sensor is what we call it. You can also add a pump activity sensor. Isn't required, and that adds an additional complexity. But really, the two that we're going to focus on and start with here in the US are the CropX sensor and the pond level sensor. And so you guys, if you're here with us at CropX, you know how the CropX soil moisture sensor works by optimally monitoring the soil moisture throughout the season. We're really not doing anything different than what the sensor is already capable of. But as I'm going to show you, it simply presents it in a different way that is specific to effluent management and knowing when to apply that effluent at the proper times. From there, as I said, we can add a pond level sensor, and that's going to identify what that level of the pond is at all times to really help us gauge and be on top of the storage level of our effluent ponds. Being a livestock producer myself, I know this is one of the most challenging things, that it doesn't take long for that pond and the level of the pond to sneak up on you, whether it's in the spring or the fall or whenever you're traditionally going to apply. That this sensor does a great job to really monitor that real time using the CropX telemetry that we have available today. So as we get into the CropX platform, I'm going to give you, again, a short overview of what this looks like. And how you access the effluent is by going up into the hamburger menu in the upper right-hand corner of the web platform, the same place that you would go to access your account settings, your reports, your partner connections, and several other features that are available in that upper right-hand drop-down menu. And you'll see effluent management, where if you have an effluent management field set up, you're going to get this new effluent dashboard, which basically is just going to show you a list of fields and give you the capability and the additional insight to specific parameters around the effluent management system. And we will come back to this. So every effluent system in your account is shown here, as I said. Now, what the risk level does is it's going to take the information from your soil moisture probe and identify what the risk level is to apply effluent or manure on that field at that specific time or that day that you're looking at the platform or the dashboard. Basically, all we're doing is taking the soil moisture level and identifying what the available deficit is from the full point, and if there's enough available room in between the current soil moisture level and the full point to safely apply effluent. No different than how we want to monitor our irrigation and making sure we have room in our soil profile to apply an irrigation application. We are doing the same concept now with effluent. Then as you get on to the other aspects here, you'll see a good management practice. Really all this mainly is for regulatory and reporting aspects that will show you how well you've done against your soil moisture level to be applying at the proper times. And then if we look at our pond level, that if we have a pond level sensor in that lagoon, it's going to give us the current pond volume, which again is a great added benefit to always knowing where that pond level is at all times. But then it's going to indicate where, if we are safe with that pond level, or if it is getting up to that fuller point, which we can set those target levels of that pond very easily. And I'll show you how to do that here shortly. If the pond is above the target level, like you'll see in this bottom example where the pond status is red, then we are going to calculate how many hours approximately it's going to take to get back to that target level, which, as everybody knows, you're not primarily, but typically going to apply to make sure you empty that pond below that target level and not necessarily meet that target level. But this is just a simple guideline to get started. So how do we set this up in the CropX platform? First is finding your field location. No different in our CropX support team can help you very quickly get started with setting up the field and the location of your effluent system. But from there, you're going to add your effluent setup, which the specific settings and parameters go along with your pivot information and your field and soil setup. But then we get into our lagoon or our pond. And this is where you're going to need to know your parameters and size and shape of that pond to accurately identify and make sure the calculations are run correctly when we add that pond level sensor. Once you have all the details and the information set up in the CropX platform, next it's time to connect the sensors. The CropX soil moisture sensor will automatically connect if it's in the same field as the effluent management field that you set up. However, you do need to go into the effluent system to connect the pond level sensor, which will be connected to your CropX gateway. Now, what does the pond level sensor look like? We get a lot of questions on what this is. This is what the pond level sensor looks like, and you can order it with any length of cord attached to it. For example, on average, we typically order 60 feet length of cable, but again, you can go shorter or longer than that, depending on the size of your lagoon. And it is very simple to install. Everybody has probably seen the new CropX telemetry device or the gateway now. It easily plugs into there, but how you install it is you simply stand on the side of the lagoon or the pond and wave this back and forth on the side of your body or leg, and then you toss it out underhand as far as you can, or I shouldn't say as far as you can, but ideally to land in the middle of that lagoon. And you just do as best as you can to get to the middle. And then from there, using pressure, it is going to calculate the level of the pond through the calculations of the pond size that you entered in the CropX platform. And you can contact support on how to order that pond level sensor. It is a third-party sensor that we just order from the company directly. Again, here's kind of a summary then of once everything's set up, where that data comes into the Effluent dashboard to see all of your fields and ponds accordingly. But if we dive into the field details, again, we start to see some of the basic information that we're accustomed to from an irrigation management standpoint, but now with the added information from the effluent specifically. So in this example, you see our status, a soil moisture status bar on the left-hand side. We see our sum graph. In particular example, you'll see our current soil moisture status is in the red, or the refill line, which gives us adequate room to apply or make an application, whether that is irrigation or effluent in this case, because we have room from the current soil moisture point all the way up to the full point. And then over on the right-hand side, though, it shows you our pond level, which you can see we're just trending just below that target level, or the green line. Again, remember that green line, or the target level, can easily be adjusted at any point. But we want to safely monitor that pond level to make sure it does not get too high or overflown. When we dive into the detail, this is what I tried or attempted to explain earlier, but we're really combining the two left-hand widgets on the left, where we have our soil moisture status. Again, it's going to take the level of our current soil moisture and where the full point is to calculate how much room, or the available deficit in the soil profile, to how much room we have to apply or safely apply that effluent application. You combine that with the pond and knowing what risk level we are with the pond getting to that target point, and we will generate a recommendation through our CropX Effluent Insights. Again, very similar to our irrigation insights. However, the Effluent Insights are specifically tailored or customized to give you recommendations based on effluent applications, utilizing that soil moisture status and the pond level sensor data from the pond level status. As I mentioned earlier, here is an in-depth view of going into the pond level sensor graph itself. And on the right-hand side of this, you can see how you can easily drag and drop that target level set point to adjust that as needed. So with that, that is the basic overview of our effluent program. Again, very easy to get started if you're already a CropX customer and have a CropX soil moisture sensor. Ask your local dealer to set this up for you. Some additional information I'd like to share is we have a effluent management info sheet that can easily be found on the CropX website. For any of those unfamiliar with that, you can go to the resources tab on the top tab at cropx.com, and you can see we have a lot of product information download sheets available for your use, which Effluent is down here in the bottom right, but you'll see additional informational sheets that are great to access, whether you're a grower customer or a dealer. These resources are available at any time. So again, I hope this was valuable for you, giving you the overview of our effluent management program. And if you're interested or have any questions, please reach out to our product support team and they can quickly get you set up and point you in the right direction. Thank you.